Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video with the Adventures of the Memory Makers. Today I'm doing a video that I've been waiting 6 months to put out about a product that I am really very excited about and really excited to share with you. This is a long-term product review of the LIcitti AC Heavy Duty Power Box. And the reason it's long-term is in the beginning when I first got it, for the price point that it was sold at, I just wasn't sure that, was it any good? Basically is what I wanted to prove. So for the last 6 months, this little guy has been going about everywhere with me. He goes camping every trip that we take. He goes to work with me almost every day. He just does everything that I wanted a power station to do from the very beginning. And how I even stumbled upon this power station is I was so fed up with the ones that were commercially available, to buy, that I decided, the heck with it, I'm just going to build what I want. I knew exactly what I wanted, but I just couldn't find it. I wanted something in the 1,000 to 1,200 watt hour range. I wanted, 12 volt high output capability, which is hard to find. There are more makers today coming out with that, but it was just hard to find then. I wanted, 1,000, 1,500 watts of AC power. I just wanted it simple, and I just wanted it to work. And in looking for a box to build my own in, I stumbled across this LIcitti AC Heavy Duty Power Box. And I got to looking at it and I looked at the specs and I was like, my gosh, that's exactly what I was going to build. And it came pre-packaged. And when I saw the price, I was like, that just can't be. So, and I think that's what draws a lot of people's attention to this is the price. But once I got it and I started working with it and I saw the capabilities that it had, it was just exactly what I was looking for in a power station. And, I've got other power stations, that, far exceed this in power capability, but due to the weight and the size of them and the cost of them, they sit at home on the shelf, whereas this goes just about everywhere with me. It just really does a nice job. And after 6 months of using it, I can honestly tell you it is worth every penny that it cost times 10. I mean, it's just that good of a little box. Other people have done videos on this where they've got it, unboxed it, and they've done bench tests with it. They've proved that the inverter in it is a pure sine wave inverter. They've proved that the solar controller on the inside of it is an MPPT controller. I mean, it's everything that they said it is, and for the money, and I'll tell you here at the end what the price is on it. I mean, you're probably gonna be shocked if you haven't seen this already. But let me just show you, right now we've got this set up. If you've seen any of our past videos, I show where we take a power station and essentially wire it into our camper and power our whole camper off the power station. And that's what we're doing right now. This cable right here is on a 50 amp Anderson plug, and it is connected directly to our camper right now, and it is running the whole 12 volt side of our camper. And that is what I wanted that high output 12 volt for. I won't buy a power station that has more than 1,000 watt hours that doesn't have 12 volt high output capability. I just won't do it.
Because why?
Because that's enough power. 1,000 watt hours in a 12 volt application is enough power to run that camper. Anything smaller than that and you're really kind of, you're on the edge there. But 1,000 to 1,200 watt hours is a nice size to run that camper. We can run 3 to 4 days with all our 12 volt needs off of this and not even charge it. And the really neat thing about this, and what I find neat, and other people may not, this may be a big turnoff to some, but to me it was a big plus, is that when you buy this, you essentially get the battery box, the lower part, and the lid. And then you put your own battery in it. Now, why that was so exciting to me was the possibilities are endless. You can put a lead acid battery in it, you can put a deep cycle battery in it, AGM, gel, or you can do what we did and put a 100 amp hour lithium iron phosphate battery in this. And I'll put a link to the one we used. It was by HQST. It's worked perfectly. It's got low temperature cutoff built into the battery BMS. So it is just an ideal setup. And it makes this box, if you use a lithium iron phosphate battery, this is about 35.6 pounds with the battery. And for that weight, for that size box, it's very manageable. It just works really well. And the advantages, are well known for the lithium iron phosphate batteries. I have compared, we've got a deep cycle battery in our tongue box, we've got lithium iron phosphate in this. There's just no comparison on the discharge. We get a 12 volts plus all the way down to about 5% on this battery. We lose that 12 volts at about 43% on that lead acid battery. So the power discharge profile of this battery is just so much better. But you have, you know, that capability. You can put whatever you want inside of this box and use it, and just understand that your battery chemistry is going to create certain limitations to the box depending on what type of battery you use. But, you know, I found that really exciting to be able to put my own battery inside of this. You know, and for the cost of the battery and the cost of the box, you know, there's just nothing out there at that price point today that's going to give you the capability that this little box does. So let me go over real quick what we've got here on the box. Like I said, we've got full AC capability. It's got 1,000 to 1,500 watt surge AC inverter built into it. So you got your grounded prong right there. You've got your cooling fan, which sucks air in here. You got one in the back that sucks air out, so it pulls air all across the underside of the lid where the electronics are at. Up here in front, you've got your standard 12-volt automotive plug. You've got 2 USB chargers, one USB-A, USB PD. You can turn those on and off. Over here, you've got the on-off switch, which basically controls the 12-volt side of it. And then this is your control for the AC inverter. So that will power on. It will show the power coming up. So there you can see it's ramping up to, it usually sits around 115, 116 volts. Then you can cycle through that and get different displays. That shows your power out in AC. That shows your battery voltage right there. And then you're back to your AC voltage. We'll turn that off. On this side, this is what really got me excited. So we got 175 amp Anderson power connection here. We have 3 bidirectional 50 amp Anderson connectors here. And we have 1 dedicated solar connector here that goes directly to the MPPT controller, and that's the only one that is not bidirectional. So all these 50 amps, or these 3 50 amps and this one 175 are all bidirectional. And if you don't know what that means, you know, essentially it means you can take power out, you can put power in through that same port. That's a big thing in some of the bigger brands today is, you know, they really tout bidirectional. Well, this thing is set up that way from the start. So that's really a pretty neat setup. Now, on the LIcitti website, they talk about being able to use jumper cables off this 175 amp Anderson connector. I'm not going to say that you can't, just understand that the type of battery that you put in that is what's going to be able to limit that capacity to jumpstart vehicles. I probably wouldn't be jumpstart vehicles with this 100 amp hour lithium iron phosphate battery because, one, the BMS is limited to 100 amp output. So if you try to pull more than 100 amps through that battery, you know, they say it's a resettable fuse on the inside. I'm not going to find out. But if you put a deep cycle battery in there or a lead acid battery, then yes, you probably could hook up to that and jumpstart a small car off of it. Just understand that the type of battery that you put in there is what's going to control, you know, the overall output of the product itself. Now, one of the things I really, really like about this unit is this one simple fact. This may be with me when I die. And I say that because there is nothing inside of this unit that I can't fix myself. And for someone like me, that is just huge. And the way I say that, or why I say that, is so I have several big Blue Eddy products. They are sealed. I can't open those up. If I crack them, you know, there goes the warranty. And there's probably nothing inside of that unit that I could repair anyway. This, I'd really, really like to shake the individual's hand that designed it, because they went to the shelf and said, I'll use that, I'll use that, and I'll use that. And they're all products that you can get today and have on hand, so if anything ever fails with this, you can repair it and go on. You know, the fact that it separates, you can take this lid off, you know, and if you aren't capable of repairing things, you can just send the lid back to them if you have a problem and they can repair it for you. But if you are curious about how these things work and you don't have that knowledge, this is an incredible device to buy just to play with, to see how it works. So I've got a lid here. And if Cindy will come up here with the camera, I'm just going to walk you through how simple this is. So this is all our Anderson connectors. So there's that big 175, there are 50 amp connectors. This is the MPPT controller. I went online, I found this unit, you can get it for like $12.95 through Alibaba. It might take you a couple months to get it, but you will eventually get it. And one interesting fact about this, you know, at the price point that this is, you would expect them to find ways to cheat, cut corners, you know, shave cost. This is all pure copper wiring. Every wire that I've taken off and looked at is pure copper. It's not CCA. So you got your MPPT, you got your, this is your inverter right here that ties in over here on the side for, you know, your outlet. This is all your USB plugs right here. This is a resettable circuit breaker underneath here. This is the on-off switch that you can get offline. The only part that I haven't been able to find, and I look every day just about to find it, is this display screen right here. And I'm sure that that is another off-the-shelf part that they found that works with this inverter. But you know, that said, this is how simple a power station can be. It has everything that you need to be able to truly be called a power station. So to me, to be able to be called a power station, you need a couple of things. You need power for one. You need power output. So in this case, you need the AC output, which this has. You know, it's not just a 12-volt battery box. I know a lot of people that see this are probably going to think, oh, it's just another 12-volt battery box. It's not. It has full 120-volt capability. And also the thing that you need, in my mind, to be able to call a portable power station is you need a way to charge it built into it. And that is that MPPT controller right there. So, I mean, it's just a super slick, super simple little box that has so much capability. And I keep finding uses for it. So let me set this down here. So one of the things, obviously, is we run our camper off of this. You know, it ties into that system. We switch from house battery to external power, you know, and use this to power the camper. Works great. This big 175 amp port over here, you know, this essentially turns this into an expandable power station. You can put another 100 amp hour lithium iron phosphate battery over there, plug it into this, and now all of a sudden you've got, instead of 1280 watt hours, you've got 2560 watt hours of capability through this unit by having that plug right there. One thing that I use it for a lot is I've got a 5,000 pound winch that I use to pull trees the direction I want them to go in our woods here. Because if they fall down the ridge, it just quadruples the amount of work it takes for me to go get that wood. So what I do is I use that winch, and I'll show a picture of the setup that I use, or one of the setups that I use, and I pull those trees to make sure they come up the ridge so I don't have to go chasing them all the way down to the bottom of the gully. So I can use this box to power that 5,000 pound winch, and through a systems of pulleys, I can get up to about 15,000 pounds of pull using this with that winch and some snatch blocks. So I can set this right by the winch behind the tree and not have to have my tractor, which is how I used to power my winch, sitting right there in the danger zone. So this is sitting behind the tree. You know, I got my winch running right there. It is just awesome for that. I used that winch the other day to pull, a customer of mine ran into the corner of their garage. I used that winch to pull the garage corner back into place because it was a slow, controlled way of pulling things back without damaging the brick wall. I don't have my new truck set up to power the winch yet, so I'm like, that's no problem. I'll just bring my LIcitti AC heavy-duty power box with me and power that winch. 10 minutes later, I had the AC inverter plugged in and was charging my batteries for my DeWalt tools. I mean, that's one of the reasons this goes with me just about every day to work. It's just a super handy, super convenient, nice sized power station, you know, with so much capability. You know, when you put this, you know, these connectors here on the side and make them bi-directional, that just opens up a whole new world that a lot of power stations don't give you that capability to do. Now, this has the MPPT controller built into it. That's probably one of the things that I wasn't real excited about with this unit. They found one that fit. I mean, they were getting really tight on space, so I give them credit. They did find an MPPT controller that fit inside the space they had to work. The one drawback to it is it's pretty small. So it's a 10 amp, 130 watt controller. So the ironic part of that is with my previous power station, I didn't have enough power on the roof of our teardrop to charge it. And now I've got too much power that I can actually overpower this MPPT controller. That's not a problem though, because these are bi-directional ports. So one simple way around this is I took the solar connector that came with it. I put an Anderson 30 amp connector on the end of it. And what I can do is tie that in to an external controller, plug this all in, and now I can use the panels on top of the camper, which are, I got two 100 watt panels on there. And now through this controller, I don't have to worry about overpowering the built-in controller. And then I can also, by using this setup, take and, you know, set up, you know, portable panels out where the sun's shining, because, you know, we're in the woods. This is our private campsite on our property here in southern Indiana. We're always struggling to get solar until the middle of the winter. So, you know, and most campsites that we camp at seem to be that way. So by having the portability with this and portable panels, we can take this and charge it in other locations. Also, by this being bi-directional, You can also use, different type of chargers. You can use a DC to DC charger and plug into these ports. I mean, it's just, as you get this thing and you start using it and you realize, oh, I can do this and I can do that. I mean, it really opens up the capabilities and the power station world to you. And again, for the price point, it is just unbelievable. So the one other thing that I will mention is, and I did not get this when I bought these from LIcitti, they now offer a 20 amp lithium charger for a very minimal price. And I'm going to order another one and get that charger in, because the reason I didn't buy it at the time was I already had a Victron lithium charger, so I didn't need multiple chargers. But now I'm just really curious, is that charger that they offer as good as my $200 Victron? I would suggest if you get one of these for what they charge for that AC charger, go ahead and pick one up. It's just a really reasonable price for it. So I'm going to go ahead and get one of those, and I'll show that in a later video. One of the other things I really like about this unit is customizable. I've done some things to it internally that I'm not quite ready to show the world yet, but it gives you that capability to where you can do things with it. You can switch it up, add things, make it your own. So one last thing I want to share with you about this LIcitti AC heavy duty power box is this. So when we first got our teardrop, I had this idea in my head that I didn't want to have a house battery sitting in the teardrop 90% of the year when we only get to use it 10% of the year. To me, we've got so many batteries, powering devices around our house, different toys and, equipment and stuff, that I just didn't want another one to take care of. So, when I started playing with power station, I thought, it would be awesome if we could integrate a power station into the camper, so that when we need the camper to have power, we put our power station in the camper, we plug it in, and away we go. And as I've been using this, it dawned on me that this, for us, would be the ideal one to use to essentially replace the house battery when we use the camper. So that's going to be something we show in a future video, but I think it's something that is starting to catch on amongst small camper manufacturers, is the ability to integrate a power station into the camper so that you don't have a separate house battery that you're taking care of, year round. It just makes sense, because when we use the camper, we put this in there and we're good to go. When we're home, I take this back out, I use it every day at work. So I'm really excited to start that process, because we're going to wipe out the front end of our camper and totally redo that and incorporate this into it. And we'll be sure to show that on a future video. But now, the moment everyone's been waiting on is, how much does this cost? It's crazy cheap. That's all I can say. Is right now, just check the website, it's $168 for this box. And that gets you the lid, the box, the solar connector, the connector with these actually pretty nice alligator clips on it. Just haven't figured out what the use of those are yet, because I wouldn't jumpstart something with these, but this comes with it. And you get the tie down thing. Yes, you have to add your battery to it, the battery of your choice, but it's $168. Now you do have to pay some shipping and handling, so it's $55. It's $223 with shipping and handling to get the box. Now for a few dollars more, they'll throw in a 20 amp hour lithium iron phosphate battery charger with it. So for that, you're looking at $213 plus $55 shipping and handling. So $268 delivered to you with a AC battery charger that plugs right into it for a lithium iron phosphate battery. So like I said, you still have to add a battery to that. And that's one of the things that's just really neat about this. You may have a battery already, a deep cycle battery. You can slip that in there. Now it's going to make it heavy, because deep cycle batteries, depending on what size, are upwards of 90 pounds. But you can do that. You can take it, right out of the box, put the deep cycle in there, and you're off and running with a portable power station. Or you can order in, like the battery we use, the HQST 100 amp hour. We'll put a link to that in the description. That's going to run you about $220, give or take, on Amazon, with tax. So you're looking at about $500 for a 1260 watt hour portable power station with lithium iron phosphate power and a full complement of 12 volt capability with that 1500 watt surge inverter. I mean, it's really hard to beat that today with any other power station on the market. And I'm glad to say that after using this 6 months, it's everything that I hoped it to be and so much more. So We're going to put links to them in the description. Be sure to check that out. You know, this might be something that really interests you. You know, if not, it makes a great gift. I know a couple of my buddies are going to be getting these for Christmas. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this helps you out. You might have some interest in this product. Check out the links in the description. And until the next video, happy camping.
See you soon.